Ishaq and Yaqub. Each did we guide, and Nah did we guide before, and of his descendants, Dawood and Sulayman and Ayub and Yusuf and Harun. And thus, do we reward those who do good to others. 6. 84. And Zechariah and Yahya and Isa and Ilyas. Each one was of the good. 6. 85. In these verses, Allah, the Mighty and Sublime, has included Prophet Isa among the descendants of Prophet Ibrahim, although he was not his father. Also, there was a long gap between the two, unlike between the Holy Prophet and Hassan and Husayn. Hajjaj said, "You have indeed presented a very good argument. By Allah, I recited the Holy Quran very much but never paid attention to this verse. It is an astonishing deduction." Damiri, Hayat al-Haywan, Urdu, pg. 334. 20. At the time of the martyrdom of Hamza, the Holy Prophet saw Amr ibn al-As intoxicated and cursed him. Sayfanat al-Bahar, Volume 2, pg. 261. 21. Amr ibn al-As was a friend of the Abyssinian king, Asma Najashi. The Quraysh used Amr's influence to get the Muslims who had undertaken the first Hijra deported back to Mecca. They sent Amr with Amara ibn Walid to Abyssinia. But they did not succeed in their goal. And after the impartial Najashi knew the stand of the Muslims, he rejected Amr's request. 22. Sayfanat al-Bahar, Volume 1, pg. 261. 23. Sheikh Abu Zahra says in his book, Al-Imam as-Sadiq, pg. 47. When Salahuddin al-Ayyubi brought down the Fatimid government in Egypt, the Shias were also persecuted and killed. And those who remained were forced to leave their land. They moved from city to city and finally settled in Aswan. The Shias remaining in Egypt were eliminated during the Ayyubid period. At present in 1962 there is no Shia in that city. Author. 24. Masudi, Maruhuz Zahab, Volume 2. 25. Asma ibn Umayy was first married to Ja'far at-Tayyar, the elder brother of Imam Ali, a. After Ja'far's martyrdom, she married Abu Bakr and gave birth to a righteous and loyal person like Muhammad ibn Abu Bakr. After the death of Abu Bakr, Imam Ali, married Asma. Therefore, Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr began to be called as the son of Imam Ali, a. He was brought up under the care of Imam Ali, a. Therefore, he was greatly devoted to the holy Imam, and he had nothing to do with his father, Abu Bakr. When the news of the martyrdom of Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr reached Medina, Muawiyah's sister, al-Mu'minin Habiba, sent a roasted sheep to Aisha with the message, "Your brother was also roasted like this." Sayfanat al-Bahar, Volume I, pg. 313. 26. Muawiyah actually deceives himself when he says, "Allah has killed Malik." 27. Tariq Kamil, Ibn Athir. Shares. Imam Hassan al-Mu'taba, a. It was the 3rd year of the Hijra and 15th night of the month of Ramadan when Imam Hassan, was born. In Medina, there were celebrations in the celestial world as the first flower had blossomed in the orchard of the Prophet, and the garden of Ali and Baytul one had seen the first spring. When he was born, the Holy Prophet recited Azan in his right ear and Iqama in his left and named him Hassan. Before Imam Hassan and Imam Husayn, no one had been given these names. On the 7th day of his birth, the Prophet performed his Aqiqah ceremony and sacrificed 2 sheep in the name of Allah, had Hassan's head shaved, perfumed it and gave silver in alms equivalent to the weight of the child's hair. Imam Hassan al-Mu'taba remained under the training of the Prophet for 7 years. His Eminence could not tolerate separation from Imam Hassan and Imam Husayn, a. The 2 brothers constantly remained with him like light remains with the sun and left him only at the time of prayers and descent of divine revelation. When divine revelations arrived, Imam Hassan memorized it and recounted the same to his mother upon his return home. When Imam Ali came home, he used to find that Lady Fatima was already aware of the revelations. When he inquired how she learnt it, she told him that his son, Hassan, had recounted to her. One day, while the Holy Prophet was performing prostration sajda, Imam Hassan mounted his blessed back. The Prophet prolonged his sajda, but Imam Hassan did not come down. After raising his head, The Holy Prophet took his grandson down and lay him on the floor very tenderly. On another occasion, while the Prophet was performing ruku bowing, Imam Hassan, came and passed through his legs. Those present said, "You treat Hassan in a manner different from others." He replied, "Hassan is my blooming branch." One day the Holy Prophet had placed Imam Hassan on his right shoulder and Hussein on his left and was walking on the street. Abu Bakr saw His Eminence and addressing Hassan and Hussein, he said, "What a nice mount." The Prophet said, "These two are very dear to me." You should have said, "What fine riders. The two are flowery branch of my world." The Holy Prophet used to tell Imam Hassan, "Your manners and disposition resemble mine." Many traditions have been narrated from the Holy Prophet in both Sunni and Shia books, according to which he said, "Hassan and Hussein are the chiefs of the youths of paradise. I love them. You should love them too. Whoever loves them loves me, and whoever bears grudge against them, bears grudge against me. I, Fatima, Ali, Hassan and Hussein would be the first to enter paradise." Hassan and Hussein are imams, whether they sit or stand. In Musnad Ahmad ibn Hanbal it has been quoted from Muawiyah that one day the Holy Prophet was kissing the tongue or lips of Imam Hassan, saying, "Allah will not punish the tongue and lips kissed by Allah's messenger." Numerous traditions were recorded about the excellence and infallibility of Imam Hassan. 8.2 However, the single tradition that is sufficient to prove his greatness is that he was chosen by the Holy Prophet to go for the occasion of Mubahala with the Christians of Najran. Personality and excellence of Imam Hassan. Imam Hassan had a very commanding personality. Ahmad ibn Abdullah Tabari Shafi'i writes, Imam Hassan's complexion was reddish white. His eyes were deep black, and his face was not so fleshy. He had soft hair on his chest. His beard was luxuriant. The hair of his head came up to his ear lobes. Another Shafi'i scholar, Mohib Tabari writes in Zakir ul-Uqba that Imam Hassan's neck was tall and slender like that of a silver ewer, and he had strong bones. He had broad shoulders, medium stature, handsome face, curly hair, and a well-shaped body. It would not be incorrect to say that he was a replica of Prophet. It is mentioned in Sahih Bukhari that one day Abu Bakr saw Imam Hassan, playing among the children. He picked him up, placed him on his neck and laughingly said, "May I be sacrificed for you. You resemble the Prophet more than you resemble your father." Morals, manners, and habits of Imam Hassan. Imam Hassan was the most devout and pious person of his time. When he performed ablution for prayer, his face paled and his body trembled with the fear of the Almighty. When he reached the mosque, he used to say, "O Lord, a sinner has come at your door. Excuse whatever of my shortcomings which you know." Whenever death, grave, judgment day or the Sirat bridge were mentioned to him, he cried. He performed 25 hajjs on foot and his mounts used to move ahead of him. He distributed his wealth thrice in the way of Allah and twice he distributed all his property in charity. When a man asked him for monetary assistance, he gave him 50,000 dirhams and 500 dinars. When a Bedouin requested for help, he directed his secretary, "Give him all I have in my treasury." Another person came for aid and Imam Hassan gave him 150,000 dirhams. People were highly impressed by his personality. Muawiyah says, "Whenever I see him, I remember his position and fear that he might recount my defects." Marwan ibn Hakam used to say, Imam Hassan is a heavy mountain of forbearance. His hospitality was such that one day he saw some poor persons sitting by the roadside eating pieces of bread. They invited him to share the meal. He dismounted and said, "Allah does not like the arrogant ones." Then he ate with them and thereafter invited them home and gave them food and clothes. If Imam Hassan was like his father in eloquence and bravery, it was not surprising because he was brought up in the nursery of the Quran and the school of divine revelation. He learned the Quran by heart at the age of 7, and he also acted on its commands. He had heard discourses from his grandfather, which were incomparable in all Arabia. He had also heard the speeches of his father who had laid the